What's up, Wrestlingverse family? Welcome back to another explosive episode, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button right now because you're about to witness us break down one of the most heartbreaking, jaw-dropping, absolutely devastating betrayals in WWE history. Today we're talking about the man, Becky Lynch, and how she just turned the entire wrestling world upside down by betraying her own husband, Seth Rollins, and walking away from the vision. This isn't just a storyline twist, folks. This is personal. This is emotional. This is the kind of betrayal that changes careers, destroys relationships, and rewrites the entire landscape of WWE. So let's dive in and dissect every single detail of how this all went down. Let's rewind and talk about how we got here, because this betrayal didn't happen in a vacuum. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, they're not just wrestling superstars, they're one of WWE's most powerful couples. They've stood side by side through wars, through championships, through the highest highs and the lowest lows. When Seth formed the vision, bringing together some of the most talented and ambitious superstars in WWE, Becky was right there supporting him. She believed in the mission, she believed in the goals, and more importantly, she believed in her husband. The vision was supposed to be different. It wasn't about manipulation like the bloodline. It wasn't about ego like so many other factions. It was about mutual respect, shared ambition, and elevating everyone involved. Becky saw that vision, no pun intended, and she bought into it completely. She was the heart and soul of the group, the fierce competitor who brought legitimacy and star power to everything the vision represented. But here's the thing about being in a relationship where you're both at the top of your game. Eventually, somebody starts wondering if they're being held back. Eventually, somebody starts questioning if they're sacrificing too much for the other person's success. And that's exactly what started happening with Becky Lynch. Behind the scenes, you could see the cracks forming, the frustration building, the resentment growing. Think about Becky's career trajectory over the past year. How many times did she put the vision's goals ahead of her own championship pursuits? How many opportunities did she let slip away because she was too busy being the supportive wife, the loyal faction member, the team player? Becky Lynch didn't become the man by playing second fiddle to anyone, and yet that's exactly what was happening. She was becoming an accessory to someone else's story instead of being the main character in her own. The tension reached a boiling point at the last pay-per-view. You could feel it in the air. The cameras caught those lingering looks between Becky and Seth. The disagreements about strategy. The moments where Becky looked absolutely done with following someone else's plan. She was a ticking time bomb, and we were all waiting for the explosion. We just didn't know it would be this catastrophic. Now let's talk about the night everything changed. The arena was packed, the energy was electric, and the vision was standing tall in the ring celebrating another victory. Seth was on the microphone talking about their dominance, their unity, their unstoppable momentum. And then he made the mistake that would cost him everything. He called Becky into the ring, expecting her to stand beside him like always, expecting her loyalty like it was guaranteed. That was his first mistake. Never take Becky Lynch for granted. When Becky's music hit, something felt different. The walk to the ring wasn't the same. The fire in her eyes had changed from passionate support to something much more dangerous. Pure, unfiltered rage. She stepped into that ring, took the microphone from Seth's hand, and the look on his face told you everything. He knew. In that moment, Seth Rollins knew his world was about to crumble. And then Becky spoke. She talked about sacrifice. She talked about being overlooked. She talked about how the vision had become Seth's vision, not their vision, not her vision. She talked about how she'd been the man long before the vision existed, and she'd be the man long after it was gone. Every word was a dagger, every sentence was brutal honesty that the WWE universe felt in their souls. This wasn't a scripted promo. This was real emotion, real pain, real frustration boiling over. But talking wasn't enough. Becky Lynch doesn't just walk away, she makes statements. And the statement she made that night will be replayed for years to come. The superkick. The betrayal. The moment she struck down her own husband in the middle of that ring while the vision and the entire world watched in absolute shock. The gasps from the crowd were deafening. Social media exploded instantly. Nobody could believe what they just witnessed. Becky Lynch, the man, had just declared war on everything and everyone she once stood beside. After the attack, after Seth was left lying in that ring, after the Vision tried to process what just happened, Becky grabbed the microphone one last time. She looked directly into the camera and said the words that will define this era. I don't need a vision. I am the vision. Then she dropped the mic and walked out, leaving behind the wreckage of relationships, the destruction of alliances, and the shock of an entire industry. So why did Becky do it? What drives someone to betray their own husband, their own family, their own faction in such a brutal and public way? Let's break this down because the psychology here is fascinating. First and foremost, identity. Becky Lynch built her entire career on being the man, on being the one who takes what she wants, on never bowing down to anyone. But in the Vision, she'd been slowly losing that identity. She'd been becoming Seth's wife, instead of Becky Lynch. For someone with her pride, with her legacy, with her accomplishments, that's unbearable. Second, opportunity cost. Every moment Becky spent elevating the Vision was a moment she wasn't elevating herself. She's in the prime of her career right now. She can't afford to waste years being someone's sidekick when she should be main eventing WrestleMania, holding championships, cementing her legacy as the greatest women's wrestler of all time. The Vision wasn't accelerating her career, it was stalling it. And Becky finally realized that she was sacrificing her prime years for someone else's dream. Third, and this is crucial, respect. In the Vision, decisions were being made without her input. Strategies were being formed without her voice. Seth and the other members were making calls that affected her career, and she was expected to just fall in line. That's not how Becky Lynch operates. She's a leader, not a follower. She's a decision maker, not someone who takes orders. The lack of respect for her opinions, for her instincts, for her contributions, that was eating away at her every single day. And let's talk about the personal aspect here. Being married to someone you also work with is incredibly difficult. When work conflicts start bleeding into personal relationships, when professional disagreements become bedroom arguments, when you can't separate your partner from your coworker, that's when things get toxic. Becky needed to reclaim not just her career, but her autonomy, her independence, her sense of self outside of being Seth Rollins' wife. Now let's discuss the aftermath and what this means for WWE moving forward. The fallout from this betrayal is going to be nuclear. Seth Rollins is devastated, both professionally and personally. The Vision is in chaos without one of their most powerful members. But more importantly, Becky Lynch is now the most dangerous competitor in WWE because she's got nothing to lose and everything to prove. This sets up some absolutely incredible match possibilities. Becky versus Seth in a mixed tag team situation. Becky systematically taking apart every member of the Vision one by one. Becky on a championship rampage now that she's unchained from faction obligations. The storytelling opportunities are endless, and every single one of them is money. For the women's division, this is massive. Becky is now a free agent with a chip on her shoulder the size of Mount Everest. Every champion needs to be looking over their shoulder. Every contender needs to be worried. Because Becky Lynch with something to prove is the most dangerous version of Becky Lynch that's ever existed. She's angry, she's motivated, and she's completely unleashed. And think about the promos we're going to get. The confrontations between Becky and Seth are going to be must-see television. How do you have a professional rivalry with someone you share a home with? How do you cut promos on someone you have children with? How do you separate the personal from the professional when they're so deeply intertwined? This is going to be raw, emotional, uncomfortable, and absolutely captivating television. The Vision itself is going to have to regroup and figure out how to move forward without Becky. Do they try to recruit someone to replace her? Do they seek revenge? Do they respect her decision and move on? And most importantly, how does Seth Rollins lead this group when he's emotionally devastated by the betrayal of his own wife? These questions are going to drive storylines for months to come. There's also the possibility that Becky starts her own faction. Think about it. She just proved that she doesn't need the Vision. But what if she builds something better? What if she recruits her own team of superstars who share her mindset, her drive, her refusal to be anyone's second choice? A Becky Lynch-led faction would be absolutely terrifying and incredibly entertaining. Let's also talk about the real-life implications here. Becky and Seth are actually married with a family. Blurring those lines between storyline and reality is risky, but it's also incredibly compelling. Fans are going to be watching every interview, every social media post, every public appearance trying to figure out where the storyline ends and real life begins. That ambiguity creates engagement, creates conversation, creates buzz. And in today's WWE, buzz is everything. The WWE universe is divided on this. Some fans are calling Becky selfish and heartless for betraying her husband. Others are celebrating her for choosing herself and her career. Some are devastated by the destruction of one of wrestling's power couples. Others are excited about the possibilities this opens up for both superstars. That division, that debate, that passion from the fans is exactly what makes this storyline so powerful. It's not black and white. It's complicated, messy, and real. So there you have it. Wrestling vs. Family. Becky Lynch has betrayed Seth Rollins and the Vision in one of the most shocking, heartbreaking, and captivating moments we've seen in years. This isn't just a faction breakup. This is personal. This is career-defining. This is the kind of moment that will be talked about for decades. The man has spoken, and she's chosen herself over everything else. What do you think? Was Becky justified in her betrayal? Did Seth and the Vision take her for granted? Is this the best move for her career? Drop your comments below because I want to hear every single opinion from the Wrestling vs. Family. And while you're down there, smash that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. It helps us tremendously and lets us know you want more content like this. If you haven't already, subscribe to Wrestling vs. CC and hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives, predictions, breaking news, and exclusive wrestling content. Share this video with your wrestling friends because this is a conversation everyone needs to be having. The landscape of WWE has changed forever, and we're going to be here covering every single development as it happens. Becky Lynch has made her choice. Seth Rollins is devastated. The Vision is in turmoil. And we are here for every single moment of this incredible story. This is Wrestling vs. CC, your home for the best wrestling content on YouTube, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep watching, keep engaging, and remember, in wrestling and in life, sometimes you have to choose yourself first. Peace out. Wrestling vs. Family.